My wife passed away 14 months ago. The necklace she left behind was all I had left of her. Then my daughter and son-in-law sold it to pay for a vacation in Hawaii. I had no idea until a few days later when the buyer called. Sir, your wife asked me to reach out. There's something engraved inside that you need to see. That call made my heart stop, and slowly I began to understand. My wife had been trying to protect me until her very last breath. I'm grateful you're here with me today. Before we begin, drop a comment below, tell me where you're watching from, or if you've ever felt betrayed by someone close. Your story matters. Hit that subscribe button so you won't miss what unfolds next. Quick reminder, this narrative blends fictional elements for reflection and learning. Any similarities to actual people or places are coincidental, but the lessons they might just change how you see family. The call came at 3. I was sitting in the living room, the same chair I'd sat in every afternoon for 14 months. Eleanor's chair faced mine. Empty now. The house was quiet. Too quiet. That's what happens when you lose someone. Silence becomes a weight. My phone buzzed on the coffee table. Unknown number, Portland area code. I almost didn't answer. Telemarketers, scammers, people who wanted something, but something made me pick up. Hello? Mom, is this Calvin Brooks? A man's voice. Older. Careful. Yes. My name is Walter Quinn. I own Quinn's Fine Jewelry here in Portland. I'm calling because your wife asked me to. I sat up straighter. My wife, Eleanor, I'm very sorry for your loss, Mr. Brooks. She came to see me about 2.5 years ago. We went to Jefferson High together, class of '69. My chest tightened. Eleanor had been gone for 14 months, and this stranger was calling about her now. What is this about? I asked. Walter hesitated. Then, she commissioned a piece from me. A necklace. White gold. Very specific instructions. She said if anyone other than you brought it to my shop, I should call you immediately. The room tilted slightly. What are you talking about? 2 people came in today. A woman and a man. They sold me a necklace. The one Eleanor had me make. They said it belonged to their family. I paid them $4,000. My hands went cold. Who were they? Another pause. The woman said her name was Vanessa Brooks. I believe that's your daughter. The air left my lungs. Vanessa and Lucas. Her husband. That's impossible, I said. My voice sounded strange, distant. The necklace is upstairs, in Eleanor's jewelry box. Mr. Brooks, Walter said gently, I think you should check. I stood, legs unsteady. The phone pressed to my ear. Hold on. I climbed the stairs. Each step felt heavier than the last. Our bedroom, Eleanor's dresser, the small wooden jewelry box she'd kept for 30 years. I opened it. The necklace wasn't there. I lifted the velvet lining, checked underneath. Moved aside her rings, her earrings, the watch I'd given her on our 20th anniversary. Nothing. The necklace was gone. I looked at the lock. Small scratches around the edges. Fresh. The brass gleaming where someone had forced it. Someone had broken in, taken it. I returned to the phone. My hand shook. It's gone. Walter sighed. I'm sorry, but Eleanor prepared for this. She paid me in advance. Told me exactly what to do. 2.5 years ago. Yes, she knew someone would try to sell it. She said when that happened, I should buy it immediately. No questions. Then call you. I sat down on the edge of the bed. Eleanor sighed. The blanket still smelled like her lavender soap. Why? My voice cracked. Why would she think that? She didn't tell me details, but she said you'd need to see something. Something hidden inside the necklace. Hidden. There's a compartment. Very small. I'm the only one who knows how to open it. Eleanor designed it that way. My mind raced. Eleanor had planned this. Before she died. Before she even got sick, she'd known Vanessa would take the necklace, and she'd built a trap. "What's inside?" I asked. "And a number, 3 digits. She said you'd understand what it means." "What's the number?" "I think you should come see it yourself. Tomorrow if you can. My shop is at 412 Northwest 23rd Avenue. I'll be here until 6. I wrote the address on the notepad by Eleanor's bed. Her handwriting still covered the top page. Grocery list. Doctor's appointment. Normal things. She'd been planning this even then. "Mr. Brooks," Walter said quietly. "Your wife was very careful, very deliberate. She told me Calvin is going to doubt himself. People will make him think he's confused. But he's not. He's sharp, and he'll need proof." I closed my eyes. She said that, word for word. We sat in silence for a moment. The kind of silence that holds weight. "Thank you for calling," I said finally. "I'm sorry it had to be this way, but Eleanor wanted you protected. Whatever's happening, she saw it coming." He gave me his number, told me to call if I needed anything. Then he hung up. I sat on Eleanor's side of the bed for a long time, holding the jewelry box, looking at the broken lock. Vanessa had been in this room, in our house. She'd gone through Eleanor's things, and she'd taken the one piece that mattered most. The necklace Eleanor wore every single day for 20 years. The one she touched when she was nervous. The one she never took off except to shower. Vanessa sold it. For $4,000. I stood, walked to the window, looked out at the maple tree in the front yard. The one Eleanor and I planted when Vanessa was 5. Vanessa used to climb it, scraped her knee falling out of it when she was 7. Eleanor had bandaged it, kissed her forehead. That little girl was gone. I didn't know who my daughter had become, but I knew one thing Eleanor had known. She'd seen it, and she'd done something about it. I pulled out my phone, looked at Vanessa's number. My finger hovered over the call button. Then I stopped. No, if I called now, she'd lie. Say I gave her permission. Say I forgot. Make me doubt my own memory. Walter said there was something inside the necklace. A number. A message. I needed to see it first, understand what Eleanor was trying to tell me. Then I'd confront Vanessa. With evidence, not just accusations. I set the phone down, went back downstairs, made myself dinner, leftover soup, Eleanor's recipe. I'd found her handwritten card in the kitchen drawer last month and tried to follow it exactly. It didn't taste the same. Nothing did anymore. After dinner, I sat in my chair, stared at Eleanor's empty seat across from me. "What did you know?" I asked the silence. The house didn't answer. But tomorrow I'd go to Walter's shop. I'd see the necklace, see whatever Eleanor had hidden inside, and then I'd understand. I touched my wedding ring, turned it slowly. 48 years. We'd been married for 48 years. She'd loved me that whole time, and in the end, she'd protected me, even from our own daughter. I didn't sleep much that night, just lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about Eleanor's hands, the way she used to touch that necklace when she was thinking. She'd known. Somehow she'd known. And tomorrow I'd find out what she'd left behind. I went back upstairs after dinner. The soup sat heavy in my stomach. Or maybe that was the anger. The bedroom felt different now. Violated. Someone had been in here, gone through Eleanor's things, taken what mattered most. I turned on the lamp beside the jewelry box. Bright light. No shadows. The lock stared back at me. Small, brass, delicate, and damaged. I ran my finger along the edge. Fresh scratches. Deep ones. The kind that showed bright metal underneath years of tarnish. Someone hadn't picked this lock. They'd forced it, probably with a screwdriver or a butter knife. Something thin and strong enough to pry the mechanism open without breaking the whole box. Careful, but not careful enough. I opened the lid again, looked at everything inside. Eleanor's wedding ring, the one she'd stopped wearing after her fingers swelled from medication. Her pearl earrings, the ones I'd given her on our 25th anniversary. a silver bracelet from Vanessa. When Vanessa was 12, before everything changed. All of it's still there. Only the necklace was gone. Whoever took it knew exactly what they wanted. I sat on the edge of the bed, pressed my palms against my knees, tried to remember. Eleanor had worn that necklace every single day, for 20 years, maybe longer. I'd see her at breakfast. Sunlight through the kitchen window, the white gold catching the light. She'd touch it sometimes when she was thinking, her fingers finding the small heart-shaped clasp. In the garden, dirt under her nails, tomatoes in a basket. The necklace resting against her collarbone. On our anniversary, 3 years ago, before she got sick. We'd gone to that Italian place on Division Street. She'd worn her blue dress, the necklace. I'd reached across the table to hold her hand. She'd touched the necklace with her other hand. "This is my favorite thing you ever gave me," she'd said. I'd frowned. "I didn't give you that." She'd smiled. That knowing smile. The one that meant she had a secret. "I know." I'd laughed. Thought she was joking, but she wasn't. She'd bought it herself, 2.5 years ago. Right around the time Vanessa's real estate project collapsed. Right after Vanessa started asking questions about our finances, about wills, about what would happen if something happened to me. Eleanor had seen something, and she'd started planning. I stood, walked to the bedroom door, looked at the frame, the lock, there, just above the handle, a thin scratch. Recent. The wood lighter where something had scraped it. Someone had picked this lock too. But Vanessa didn't need to pick it. She had a key. Eleanor had given her a spare 5 years ago. "Just in case," Eleanor had said. "In case there's an emergency and you need to get in." I walked downstairs, to the kitchen, opened the drawer where we kept the spare keys. Vanessa's key wasn't there. She still had it. I leaned against the counter, closed my eyes, forced myself to think. When had she been here? Not Monday. I'd been home all day. Not Tuesday. Today. Until Walter's call, everything had been normal. Sunday. 3 days ago. She'd stopped by around 2 in the afternoon. Said she wanted to check on me. Brought a casserole. Said Lucas was working. Said she missed me. We'd sat in the living room. Talked about nothing. The weather. Her job. The traffic on Hawthorne. Then she'd excused herself. "Can I use your bathroom, Dad?" Of course. She'd gone upstairs. I'd stayed in the living room. Finished my coffee. She'd been gone 15 minutes. When she came back down, she'd hugged me. Said she loved me. Said she'd come by again soon. And she'd left. With Eleanor's necklace in her purse. My hands gripped the counter edge. She'd planned it. Come over with an excuse. Gone upstairs while I waited below. Broken into the jewelry box. Taken the one thing Eleanor never took off. And then hugged me goodbye. I pulled out my phone. Scrolled to her number. Vanessa Brooks. My daughter. My thumb hovered over the call button. One tap. That's all it would take. I could hear her voice already. Confused. Concerned. What's wrong? The necklace. Eleanor's necklace. You took it. Oh, what necklace, Dad? I don't know what you're talking about. You were here Sunday. You went upstairs. You took it. Dad, I didn't take anything. Are you feeling okay? Have you been eating, getting enough sleep? She'd turn it around. Make it about me. About my memory. About whether I was competent to live alone. And maybe I'd start to doubt myself. Maybe I already was. I set the phone down. Walter's words echoed in my head. There's something inside. A number. She said you'd understand. If I called Vanessa now, I'd have nothing but accusations. No proof. Just my word against hers. And she'd already sold the necklace. The evidence was gone. Unless I got it back. Walter had it. Bought it for $4,000. Had it locked in his shop right now. He'd open it tomorrow. Show me what Eleanor had hidden inside. Then I'd know. Then I'd understand why she'd planned this. What she'd seen coming. And then I'd confront Vanessa. With evidence, with answers. Not like this. Not blind and angry and desperate. I made myself a cup of tea. Earl Grey, Eleanor's favorite, sat at the kitchen table. The same table where we'd eaten breakfast together for 48 years. The clock on the wall ticked, each second louder than the last. I thought about Eleanor's hands, the way she'd held her coffee cup, the way she'd touched that necklace when she was worried about something. She'd been worried about Vanessa, for years maybe, and she'd done something about it. Built a plan, commissioned a necklace, paid a jeweler $4,000 in advance, left me a trail to follow, even knowing she wouldn't be here to see it. That's love. Not the easy kind. Not the kind that makes you feel good in the moment. The hard kind. The kind that protects you after they're gone. I finished my tea, washed the cup, dried it, put it back in the cabinet, set my alarm for 7. Walter's shop opened at 10. I'd be there when the doors unlocked, and tomorrow night I'd call Vanessa, but not to ask questions, to tell her what I knew. I climbed the stairs one more time, stood in the bedroom doorway. The jewelry box sat open on the dresser, the broken lock catching lamplight. "I'm listening, Eleanor," I whispered. Show me what you left behind." I stood outside Quinn's Fine Jewelry at 10:15, staring at the gold leaf lettering. The Pearl District hummed around me, coffee shops, boutiques, normal life. Mine stopped being normal when Walter Quinn called. The shop looked modest, professional. A banner stretched across the brick, Quinn's Fine Jewelry, established 1987, Portland's most trusted jewelry buyer. Fair appraisals, immediate payment, no questions asked. I pulled out my phone, Googled the shop. 4.8 stars, 347 reviews. Best prices in Portland. Fast, professional, discreet. Walter paid me more than 3 other shops combined. Vanessa would have seen these reviews. Lucas, too. Eleanor knew they would. I pushed the door open. A bell chimed. Display cases lined both walls. Vintage rings, bracelets, watches. At the back counter, a man looked up from a jeweler's loupe. Walter Quinn, 68 maybe. Wire-rimmed glasses, white hair, vest over a dress shirt. "Calvin Brooks?" he asked. I nodded. "Come with me." The back room was small. Workbench, tools, a safe in the corner door open. Walter reached inside, pulled out a black velvet box. My chest tightened. "Before I open this," Walter said, "I want you to understand something. Your wife came to me in spring of 2023, 2.5 years ago. She asked if my shop had a good reputation for buying estate jewelry. I said yes. She asked if people search online before they sell. I said most do." He tapped the box. "She said good. Then when my daughter needs money, she'll find you." I stared at the box. "Eleanor paid me $4,000, Walter continued. "In cash. She said when someone brought this necklace in, I was to buy it immediately. No haggling, then call you." She knew Vanessa would sell it. She knew someone would. Walter opened the box. The necklace lay coiled inside. 14-karat white gold, delicate chain, heart-shaped clasp. I couldn't breathe. I'd seen that necklace 1,000 times, around Eleanor's neck, on her dresser, in photographs, but I hadn't seen it in 20 years. Not since the day I gave it to her. "Do you recognize this?" Walter asked gently. I reached out, touched the chain. Cold, smooth. I bought this," I said. My voice cracked. 20 years ago," Walter nodded. "Your wife told me. She said you saved for 6 months. I had. January 29th, 2005. Eleanor's 50th birthday. I was working maintenance at the school district. 51 years old. Paycheck to paycheck. But Eleanor never complained. Never asked for anything. So I skipped lunches, walked to work, put $20 a week in an envelope under the mattress. 6 months, $240. I took the bus downtown, went to 3 jewelry stores before I found this one. It cost $238. Eleanor cried when I gave it to her. She wore it every day for 20 years. She wore it the day she came to see me, Walter said. She told me this necklace saved me once when Calvin chose me. Now it's going to save him. I looked up. What did she mean? Walter turned the necklace over, pressed the side of the heart clasp. It clicked. A tiny compartment opened. Inside, engraved into the metal, 291. She had me add this, Walter said. A false back. Hidden. Only I know how to open it. I stared at the numbers. January 29th, I whispered. Your wedding day, Walter said. And the day you gave her this necklace, 28 years apart. Same date. January 29th, 1977. I was 23. Eleanor was 21. We got married at the courthouse. No money for a big wedding. Just us and a promise. She chose this necklace because it was yours, Walter said. Your love. Your sacrifice. She wanted it to be the thing that caught them. Caught them. Your daughter and her boyfriend. Eleanor knew if Vanessa needed money, she'd search online. She'd see my reviews. 4.8 stars. Best prices in Portland. She'd think she was being smart. But Eleanor had already set the trap. I felt something crack open inside me. When Eleanor paid you $4,000, I said slowly. The same amount you paid Vanessa. Correct. Your wife made sure I didn't lose anything. Walter looked at me. She also made sure you'd know what to do next. He reached into his desk drawer, pulled out a white envelope. My name was written across the front. Eleanor's handwriting. My hands went numb. She left this, Walter said. Told me to give it to you after I showed you the number. I took the envelope. Inside a single card. Calvin, Box 291, Portland Private Bank, downtown. Everything you need is there. I love you, Eleanor. I read it twice, 3 times. Box 291. The same number engraved inside the necklace. Safe deposit box, Walter said quietly. She opened it 2 years ago, January of 2023. Paid the rental fee 10 years in advance. You're listed as the authorized accessor. All you need is your ID and the key. Walter pointed to the envelope. I looked inside again. A small silver key taped to the bottom of the card. Walter wrote an address on a business card. 418 Southwest Broadway, downtown, 3rd floor. Ask for the vault manager, Patricia Miller. Eleanor spoke with her personally. I took the card. Stared at Eleanor's note. She'd planned this 2.5 years ago, while she was still alive, still healthy. She knew Vanessa would steal from me. She knew Vanessa would sell the necklace. She knew Vanessa would find Walter through Google, and she'd left me a trail that started with the thing I gave her 20 years ago, proof of my love, and led to a locked box downtown. What's in it? I asked. Walter shook his head. She didn't tell me. But she said you'd understand when you saw it. I closed my fist around the necklace. 20 years ago, I gave this to Eleanor because I loved her. Yesterday, Vanessa stole it because she didn't love me. Today, it came back to me with instructions. Thank you, I said. Walter nodded. Your wife loved you very much, Calvin. What she did, most people don't think that far ahead. She protected you. Even after she was gone, I walked out into the bright Portland morning. In my pocket, the necklace. In my hand, Eleanor's note, the key, and the bank address. In my chest, a growing certainty. Eleanor hadn't just left me a necklace. She'd left me a weapon. And whatever was in box 291, I was about to find out. Spring 2023, 2.5 years before the call. The bell above the door chimed. Eleanor Brooks stepped into Quinn's Fine Jewelry on a Thursday morning in late April. The shop was quiet. Sunlight filtered through the display window, catching the facets of vintage rings and estate bracelets. At the back counter, Walter Quinn looked up from his workbench. Eleanor, he said, surprised. Eleanor Mitchell from Jefferson High. She smiled. Tired, but genuine. Class of '69. You became a jeweler, I remember. Walter set down his loupe, walked to the front counter. I haven't seen you in 40 years? Something like that. Eleanor's voice was soft, measured. They exchanged pleasantries. Grandchildren, retirement, the neighborhood. But Eleanor's face remained serious. Her hands gripped her purse a little too tightly. After a moment, she leaned forward. "And Walter," she said quietly, "I need your help. And I need you to keep this secret." Walter's expression shifted. He gestured toward the back room. "Come with me." They sat at his workbench. The door closed behind them. Eleanor reached into her purse, pulled out a small velvet pouch, set it on the table. Walter opened it carefully. Inside, a white gold necklace, delicate chain, heart-shaped clasp. The links were worn smooth from years of contact with skin, but the craftsmanship was still visible. "It's beautiful," Walter said. "How long have you had it?" Eleanor's eyes softened. 18 years. Calvin gave it to me on my 50th birthday. January 29th, 2005. She touched the chain gently. "That's also our wedding anniversary," she continued. "We got married January 29th, 1977. So every year that date means two things: the day we married and the day he gave me this." Walter examined the necklace under his loupe. "He has good taste." Eleanor smiled, sad, proud. "He saved for 6 months. We weren't rich. We've never been rich. But he wanted to give me something that would last." She looked up. "And it has. I've worn it almost every day for 18 years. It's been repaired twice. New clasps, reinforced links. But the chain is original." Walter set the loop down. "What do you need?" Eleanor took a breath. "I need you to modify it," she said. "Add a hidden compartment inside the heart clasp. Engrave the number 291 inside for January 29th. Walter frowned. "Why this necklace? I could make you a new one." "Oh no!" Eleanor's voice cracked. Her eyes filled with tears. "Because this necklace represents the moment Calvin chose me," she said. 46 years ago, he married me. 28 years after that, he gave me this to celebrate." She wiped her eyes. "Now I'm 68. My health isn't good, and I'm watching my daughter turn into someone I don't recognize anymore. She looks at Calvin like he's a problem to be managed, an asset to be controlled." Her voice dropped. "I need to protect him. And I want this necklace, the one he gave me when he had nothing, to be the thing that saves him." Walter was silent. Eleanor pulled out her phone, opened Google, typed, "Quinn's Fine Jewelry Portland." She turned the screen toward him. 4.8 stars. 347 reviews. Best prices in Portland. Fast, professional, discreet. Walter paid me more than 3 other shops combined. Eleanor looked at him. "If someone in my family needed to sell jewelry fast, where would they go?" Walter stared at the screen, then at her. "Here. They'd come here." "Exactly," Eleanor said. "Because you're the obvious choice, the smart choice. And my daughter always thinks she's smart." She set the phone down. "So when she steals this necklace from Calvin's house," Eleanor continued, "and when she needs money fast, she'll search online. She'll see your reviews. She'll think she's being clever. But I'll have already set the trap." Walter exhaled slowly. "You really think she'll steal from him?" I know she will," Eleanor said. "I've watched her for 3 years. She's been circling, waiting. The only reason she hasn't made a move yet is because I'm still alive." She paused. "But I won't be. Not for much longer." Walter's face softened. "Eleanor, it's okay," she said. "I've made my peace with it. But I won't leave Calvin defenseless." Walter examined the necklace again, turned it over, pressed the edges of the heart clasp. I can create a false back," he said. "A tiny compartment. When it's closed, it'll look completely normal." How long?" 2 weeks." Eleanor reached into her purse again, pulled out a white envelope. She set it on the workbench. Walter opened it. $4,000, cash. This covers the modification, Eleanor said, and the buyback in the future. When someone, probably Vanessa or her boyfriend, brings this in to sell, buy it immediately. Pay them $4,000. Then call Calvin. She handed him a card with a phone number written on it. This is his cell. Don't call until after I'm gone. If I'm still alive, I'll handle it myself. Walter stared at the money. You're building a trap. I'm building a safety net, Eleanor corrected. There's a difference. She stood, held out her hand. Will you do this for me, Walter, for Calvin? Walter took her hand. I will. I promise. Eleanor nodded. Thank you. She turned to leave, paused at the door. Well, one more thing, she said. When you call Calvin after you show him the necklace, give him this. She handed Walter another envelope, smaller, cream-colored. Calvin's name written on the front in careful handwriting. What's inside? Walter asked. Eleanor's smile was sad, knowing. Everything he'll need to fight back. She left. Walter stood in the doorway, watched her walk down Northwest 23rd Avenue, watched her disappear into the spring sunlight. He looked down at the necklace in his hand, the envelope of cash, the sealed letter. Eleanor Brooks was 68 years old, sick, and running out of time. But she wasn't running scared. She was 3 steps ahead. 14 months later, Eleanor died. 10 months after that, Vanessa brought the necklace to Walter, exactly as Eleanor had predicted. She'd known. From 2.5 years out, she'd turned my gift, the necklace I gave her on her 50th birthday, into a weapon. Not to harm anyone, but to protect me. She'd taken the thing I gave her when I had almost nothing, and she'd made it the thing that would save me when I had no one. That's the power of love. It doesn't just endure. It plans. It prepares. It protects, even when it's gone. I called Vanessa at 6:30. Come over, I said. Both of you. Dad. Her voice was cautious. Is everything okay? Just come. 30 minutes later, the doorbell rang. I opened it. Vanessa stood on the porch, Lucas behind her. Both of them wore expressions of concern. Fake. Practiced. Calma, Vanessa said, stepping inside. You sounded upset. What's going on? I didn't answer. I walked to the living room. They followed. I gestured to the couch. Sit. They sat. I stood, reached into my pocket, pulled out the necklace, set it on the coffee table. The white gold caught the lamplight. The heart clasp gleamed. Silence. Vanessa stared at it. Lucas shifted in his seat. Where did you find that? Vanessa asked. Her voice was too careful, too controlled. You sold it, I said. To Walter Quinn, for $4,000. 3 days ago. Lucas's jaw tightened. Vanessa blinked. Dad, I have no idea what you're talking about. You took it from my bedroom, I said. Sunday, when you said you were going to the bathroom. Vanessa stood. I didn't take anything. I pointed to the necklace. The jewelry box lock was broken. There were fresh scratches on it. Traxina, Vanessa said slowly. I think you're starting to lose it. I froze. What? She looked at Lucas, then back at me. Her expression softened. Pity, concern. How you're getting older, she said. And your memory. It's probably not what it used to be. My chest tightened. Lucas leaned forward. She's right, Calvin. We've noticed some things. You forget where you put your keys. Last month you called us twice to ask the same question. That has nothing to do with this, I said. Vanessa stepped closer. Maybe you moved the necklace and forgot. Maybe you're confused about what happened. I'm not confused, I said. Walter Quinn called me. He told me you sold it. Walter Quinn, Vanessa repeated. Who's that? A jeweler. Quinn's Fine Jewelry. 412 Northwest 23rd. Vanessa looked at Lucas. Do you know anyone named Walter Quinn? Lucas shook his head. She turned back to me. Dad, there was no sale. There's no jeweler. I think maybe you dreamed this. I have the necklace right here. Yes, Vanessa said patiently. Because it's been in your house the whole time. Maybe you found it and forgot you'd moved it. The lock was broken. Maybe you broke it, she said. Maybe you were looking for something and forgot. I felt something crack inside me, a small crack, just for a moment. Was I confused? Had I imagined the call? Vanessa saw the hesitation in my face. She pressed forward. She said softly, "This is exactly what we've been worried about. You're forgetting things, getting confused. Your mind, it's not as sharp as it was." Lucas nodded. "Maybe we should take you to see Dr. Owen, get you checked out." "There's nothing wrong with me," I said, but my voice sounded weaker than I wanted it to. Vanessa sat on the armrest of the couch, close to me, her hand on my shoulder. "We're not trying to be mean," she said. "We love you, but we're worried about whether you're still capable of living alone." I pulled away. "I'm capable, and I'm not confused." "Then show me proof," Vanessa said. Her voice hardened. "Show me a receipt. Show me Walter Quinn's phone number." I pulled out my phone, scrolled to Walter's number, held it up. Vanessa glanced at it, shrugged. "That could be anyone." "Did you verify that's actually a jeweler? Or did some scammer call you and pretend to be one?" I stared at her. "Dad," she said, "scammers target elderly people all the time. They call. They make up stories. They confuse you." She stepped closer. "I think someone scammed you. And now you're accusing us because you don't want to admit you got tricked." My hands shook. "Get out," I said. "Dad, get out of my house." Vanessa looked at Lucas. He stood. They walked to the door. Vanessa paused, turned back. "We're going to help you, Dad," she said. "Whether you want it or not." The door closed. I stood in the living room, alone. The silence pressed against my ears. I sat down in Eleanor's chair, held the necklace. My hands were trembling. A part of me, small buried, whispered, "What if they're right? What if I am confused? What if I dreamed the call? What if my memory is failing?" I'd been forgetting things lately. Little things. Where I put my wallet. Whether I'd locked the back door. What if this was bigger? What if I was losing my mind? I looked down at the necklace in my palm. The heart clasp. I pressed the side. Click. The hidden compartment opened. Inside the engraving, 291. January 29th, the day I married Eleanor. The day I gave her this necklace 28 years later. The day she turned 50. The day that meant everything. This wasn't a dream. This wasn't confusion. Eleanor had planned this. Walter had called me. Vanessa had sold the necklace. The number was real. The compartment was real. The trap Eleanor set was real. I wasn't losing my mind. They were lying, and they were good at it. Good enough that for a moment, just a moment, I doubted myself. That's what gaslighting does. It makes you question reality. It makes you feel crazy. Even when you're holding proof in your hand. I closed the compartment, set the necklace on the side table, stood, walked to the window. Outside, Vanessa's car was still in the driveway. She and Lucas were sitting inside, talking. I couldn't hear them, but I could see their faces. They weren't worried. They were strategizing. Vanessa pulled out her phone, typed something, showed Lucas. He nodded. They were planning something. And I knew deep in my bones that "we're going to help you whether you want it or not" wasn't an empty threat. It was a warning. They were going to try to take control. My house, my money, my life. They'd use my age against me, my memory. Dr. Owen, maybe, a lawyer. Eleanor had seen this coming. 2.5 years ago she'd seen it, and she'd left me weapons. The necklace was the first. Tomorrow I'd find the second. Box 291, Portland Private Bank. Whatever Eleanor left in that box, I needed it now. Because Vanessa and Lucas had just declared war. And I wasn't going down without a fight. I was staring at my coffee when the doorbell rang. Grace Holloway stood on my porch. White hair and soft curls. A cardigan with flowers embroidered on the buttons. A smile that could melt a frozen winter. "Calvin, dear. I just wanted to check on you. Haven't seen you on your walks lately." I managed a nod. "Rough week, Grace." She stepped inside, her eyes drifting to Eleanor's empty chair. "I know, sweetheart. 14 months and it still feels like yesterday. She touched my arm. But you're not alone. The whole neighborhood's thinking of you. I wanted to believe her. Not actually. I saw Vanessa posted some beautiful photos. Hawaii right Waikiki Beach. That sunset looked gorgeous. The coffee cup stopped halfway to my mouth. Hawaii! Oh yes. About a week ago, I think. Her and Lucas. Lays the ocean, they looked like they needed the break. A week ago. 3 days after they sold Eleanor's necklace. Grace, when exactly do you remember? She blinked. Well, I saw the photos maybe 5 days ago. The Post said they'd just gotten back. So it must have been the weekend before that. The numbers clicked together like tumblers in a lock. Grace left 20 minutes later. I barely heard her goodbye. The laptop sat on the living room desk. I hadn't touched Eleanor's online accounts since she died, but I knew Vanessa's profile was public. She always was, proud of her life, her accomplishments, her trips. I typed her name into the search bar. There, her profile loaded. Smiling photos. A perfect life on display. I scrolled down and there it was. Posted August 15th. The caption read, "Sometimes you just need to hit pause and breathe. Life is stressful, but moments like these remind me what really matters." The photos loaded one by one. Vanessa and Lucas on Waikiki Beach. Sunset behind them. Sky burning orange and pink. Lucas holding a Mai Tai at a beachside bar. Vanessa wearing a white lei grinning at the camera. Dinner at an oceanfront restaurant. White tablecloths. Wine glasses catching the light. A video of them on a sunset cruise. Lucas's arm around her waist. Her laughter louder than the waves. I clicked on the timestamps. August 12th through 14th. 3 nights. Walter had called me on Monday, August 16th. Vanessa and Lucas had sold the necklace on Thursday, August 12th. They'd flown to Hawaii the same day. I leaned back in the chair. My hands were shaking. I opened a new tab and searched for flight prices from Portland to Hawaii. Round trip roughly $700 per person. 2 people, $1,400 total. Waikiki hotel for 3 nights, minimum $500. Food, drinks, sunset cruise, another $200. Total $2,100. But the necklace sold for $4,000. I grabbed the notebook I'd been keeping and wrote down the numbers. $4,000 received from Walter. $1,800 for Lucas's vendor debt he'd mentioned at Thanksgiving. $600 for the Lexus payment. 3 months overdue, she'd complained about it at Easter. $1,400 for the Hawaii trip. $200 in miscellaneous expenses. Total $4,000. Every single dollar. They'd taken Eleanor's necklace, the one she'd worn for 20 years, the one that held a secret message, the one she'd trusted Walter to protect, and turned it into Mai Tais and sunset cruises. I stared at Vanessa's caption again. Life is stressful, but moments like these remind me what really matters. Stressful. They stole from me, gaslit me, called me delusional, and then they sipped cocktails on a beach. I printed the photos. All of them. The beach, the drinks, the lei, the cruise. I printed the flight dates, the hotel price estimates, that caption. I laid them all out on the kitchen table at 2847 Southeast Hawthorne Boulevard. Not legal evidence. I knew that. A lawyer would laugh at me if I tried to use vacation photos in court. There was no direct proof the Hawaii money came from the necklace. Vanessa could say they'd saved up, that Lucas got a bonus, that they'd borrowed from friends. A judge wouldn't accept circumstantial timing, but this was proof of something else. Proof of who they really were. They'd taken Eleanor's necklace, the one I'd saved 6 months to buy the one she'd worn every day for 20 years, and they'd turned it into a vacation. While I sat in this empty house, grieving, while they called me confused, delusional, losing my mind, they were sipping cocktails on Waikiki Beach. The timeline was damning. August 12th sold the necklace. August 12th, flew to Hawaii. August 15th, posted the photos. August 19th, came to my house and told me I was imagining things. My chest tightened. Not with grief this time, with a cold, focused rage. Eleanor had known. She'd known this would happen. That's why she'd built the plan. The necklace. Walter. That hidden compartment. She knew Vanessa would lie, would twist the truth. I picked up the printed photo of Vanessa on the beach. Her smile, her lay, her perfect sunset. And I thought about the number engraved inside the necklace clasp. Eleanor had left me clues. It was time to follow them. I folded the printouts carefully and slid them into a large yellow envelope. These wouldn't hold up in court, but they'd hold up in a confrontation. When the time came, when I had real evidence, legal evidence, I'd show Vanessa these photos. And I'd watch her face when she realized I knew exactly what she'd done with Eleanor's memory. Then I pulled out my phone. I didn't call Vanessa. I called the number on the business card Walter had given me. Portland Private Bank. The phone rang twice. A woman answered, professional and calm. Portland Private Bank, how may I help you? I took a deep breath. I need to access a safe deposit box. Number 291. There was a pause. And your name, sir? Calvin Brooks. I heard keys clicking. A moment of silence. Well, Mr. Brooks, yes. I have you listed here as an authorized accessor. Box 291 was registered by Eleanor Brooks in January of 2023. My throat tightened. Eleanor, 2.5 years ago, the same time she went to Walter. Can you come in today? I looked at the yellow envelope on the table. Yes. I'll be there in an hour. Wonderful. Ask for Patricia Miller when you arrive. 3rd floor vault services. Bring a government-issued ID. I will. I hung up, stood, and walked to the window. Outside, the morning sun was climbing over the rooftops of southeast Portland. The neighborhood was waking up. People walking dogs, cars backing out of driveways, normal life. Mine had stopped being normal 2.5 years ago, when Eleanor started building a safety net. A net I was about to step into. I grabbed my keys, my wallet, and the yellow envelope with the Hawaii photos. Not for the bank, not for a lawyer, for Vanessa. When the time came, and I walked out the door. I'd planned to go to the bank yesterday, but by the time I'd finished printing the Hawaii photos and organizing the evidence, it was almost 4 o'clock. The bank closed at 5. I decided to go Friday morning instead. Get there early. Open box 291. Find whatever Eleanor had left. Then the knock came. 3 sharp raps. Loud. Insistent. I opened the door to find a man in a gray suit standing on my porch. Polished shoes, briefcase in hand, 50s, thinning hair combed back, sharp eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Calvin Brooks, he asked. Yes. He extended a business card. Martin Hale. I'm an attorney. I specialize in elder law and conservatorship cases. My chest tightened. What do you want? May I come in? This concerns your daughter, Vanessa. I hesitated, then stepped aside. He walked into my living room, sat on the couch without being invited, and set his briefcase on the coffee table. I remained standing. Mr. Brooks, he said, pulling out a folder. Your daughter has retained my services due to concerns about your capacity to manage your affairs. My what? Your cognitive capacity. Your ability to make sound decisions regarding your health finances and living situation. I stared at him. There's nothing wrong with my capacity. Martin Hale didn't smile or frown. Just opened the folder and pushed the first document across the table. A medical report. Letterhead Owen Mercer, M.D. Family Medicine. Portland, Oregon, dated July 2nd, 2025. 6 weeks ago. I picked it up and read. Patient presence with family concerns regarding memory and decision-making capacity. Daughter reports increased forgetfulness, confusion about dates, difficulty managing finances. Patient appears lucid during visit, but may require formal cognitive screening. My hands shook. This is false. I never said any of this. Dr. Owen documented family concerns. Your daughter called ahead of your appointment and expressed worry about your memory. I don't have memory problems. Martin pulled out a second document. This is a witness statement from Grace Holloway, your neighbor. Signed August 7th. I took it. Grace's signature was at the bottom, neat and careful. The statement read, I have known Calvin Brooks for 12 years. In recent months, I've observed concerning behavior. On July 20th, he asked if I'd seen Eleanor, his late wife, who passed away over a year ago. He frequently forgets appointments and has mentioned leaving his keys in unusual places. He seems confused at times and may not be safe living alone. My vision blurred. Grace didn't say that. Not like this. She signed it. In what context did Vanessa ask her leading questions? Twist her words. Martin's expression didn't change. Ms. Holloway signed the statement voluntarily. He pushed a third document forward. Petition for conservatorship. Petitioners Vanessa Brooks and Lucas Reed. Respondent Calvin Brooks. I read the grounds. Respondent exhibits cognitive decline, including memory loss, confusion, and impaired judgment. Respondent is unable to manage financial affairs and poses a risk to his own safety. Petitioners request full conservatorship of person and estate with Vanessa Brooks appointed as conservator. My throat closed. When was this filed? It hasn't been filed yet. Vanessa wants to give you an opportunity to cooperate voluntarily. If you agree to certain terms, we can avoid court proceedings. Cooperate how? To undergo a formal capacity evaluation. Allow Vanessa to assist with your financial management. Transition to a living arrangement with more support, whether that's in-home care or assisted living. I don't need assisted living. That's for the evaluator to determine. And if I refuse, Martin closed the folder. We file the petition on Monday. The court will order a capacity evaluation. If the findings support the petition, conservatorship will be granted whether you agree or not. I stood. Get out. Mr. Brooks. Get out of my house. Martin stood slowly, packed his documents back into the briefcase, and walked to the door. He paused. Your daughter loves you, Mr. Brooks. She's trying to protect you. She's trying to control me. Martin left. The door closed. I stood in the silence. I sat back down and spread the documents on the coffee table. The medical report. The witness statement. The petition. I looked at the dates. July 2nd, Dr. Owen appointment. 6 weeks ago. Late July, Grace's statement collected. Early August, Martin Hale retained. Petition drafted. August 12th, necklace sold. August 20th, today, ultimatum delivered. They'd been planning this for months. This wasn't a reaction to my confusion. This was premeditated. Vanessa had called Dr. Owen before my appointment, planted concerns, twisted his notes. She'd talked to Grace, asked leading questions, got a signature. She'd hired a lawyer and drafted legal documents. And then, on August 12th, she'd sold Eleanor's necklace for $4,000. This wasn't impulsive. This was a systematic, calculated plan to take control of my life. My home, my money, my freedom. I looked at the petition again. Full conservatorship of person and estate. If they succeeded, Vanessa would control everything. Where I lived, how I spent my money, whether I could leave the house. I'd lose my autonomy, my dignity, my life. Eleanor had seen this coming 2.5 years ago. She'd known Vanessa would do this, and she'd left me weapons. The necklace. Walter. Box 291. But I hadn't opened the box yet. And now I was running out of time. 7 days. I picked up my phone and scrolled through my contacts. Found the name Eleanor had written in her will. James Cartwright. Attorney at law. Eleanor's lawyer. The one who'd handled her estate. I pressed call. The phone rang twice. James Cartwright. Mr. Cartwright, this is Calvin Brooks, Eleanor's husband. There was a pause. Then, Calvin, I've been waiting for your call. My breath caught. You have. Well, Eleanor told me you'd call when the time came. When Vanessa made her move. She knew everything, Calvin, and she left instructions, detailed ones. I closed my eyes. What do I do? First, don't sign anything Martin Hale gives you. Don't agree to any evaluations. Don't let Vanessa into your financial accounts. Okay. Ilaganat, have you been to Portland Private Bank yet? Box 291. I looked at the yellow envelope on the side table. The Hawaii photos. The evidence I'd gathered. Not yet. I was going this morning. Then Martin Hale showed up. Go tomorrow, Saturday. The vault is open until noon. Patricia Miller is expecting you. Everything you need is in that box. What's in it? James's voice softened. Eleanor's countermeasures. She built a safety net, Calvin, and it's time to use it. I spread everything across the kitchen table. The Hawaii printouts. Martin's legal documents. Walter's business card. The bank confirmation. Rain tapped against the window. The house was too quiet. I pulled out a yellow legal pad and drew a line down the center of the page. Left side, their plan. Right side, Eleanor's plan. I started writing. Their plan. July 2nd, 2025. Doctor's appointment. Family concerns report filed. Late July, Grace's statement collected. Date unclear, but before August. Early August, Martin Hale retained. Conservatorship petition drafted. August 12th, necklace stolen and sold. August 12th through 14th, Hawaii vacation. $4,000 spent. August 16th, Walter called me. They didn't anticipate this. August 19th, confrontation. Dad's losing it. August 20th, Martin delivered ultimatum. 7 days to comply. 6 weeks of planning, every move calculated. I stared at the timeline, then started writing on the right side. Eleanor's plan. 2.5 years ago, early 2023, Eleanor met Walter Quinn. Commissioned necklace with hidden compartment. 2 years ago, 2024, Eleanor opened safe deposit box 291. Deposited cash property deed letters. 14 months ago, June 2024, Eleanor died. Necklace passed to me. August 2025. Vanessa took necklace. Walter called. Number 291 revealed. Tomorrow, August 21st, I open box 291. Eleanor had started her plan 2 years before Vanessa started hers. She'd known. Not the details. Not every move. But she'd known the nature of it. That Vanessa would take, would manipulate, would try to control. So Eleanor had built a safety net. The necklace. The number. The vault. A trail only I could follow. I walked into the living room. Eleanor's photograph sat on the mantel, taken on our 40th anniversary. Her smile, those eyes that always saw everything. I picked it up and whispered, "You knew." The house was silent, but I felt her answer anyway. Of course I knew. I thought about the necklace, how she'd worn it every day for 20 years. Never took it off, even when she slept. I'd thought it was just sentiment. But it wasn't. It was a message waiting. Why didn't you tell me? I asked the photograph. But I already knew the answer. Because telling me wouldn't have been enough. I would have confronted Vanessa, argued with her, and I would have lost. No evidence. Just accusations. Eleanor needed me to see it for myself. To experience it. To gather proof. The necklace sale. The Hawaii trip. The lawyer's documents. Each piece was a weapon. Eleanor had given me an arsenal. I just needed to be willing to use it. I set the photo back on the mantel. I'm not going to let them win. The rain kept falling. I sat in my chair. Eleanor's chair across from me. Empty. My mind circled back to Vanessa's words. Dad's losing it. Your memory, it's not what it used to be. Was it true? I'd been so certain about the necklace. But yesterday, I doubted myself. Wondered if I'd imagined the whole thing. That's what gaslighting does. It plants seeds of doubt. Even now, a part of me wondered, what if Dr. Owen is right? What if I really am confused? What if Vanessa is actually trying to help me? I closed my eyes. No. The evidence was clear. Walter had confirmed the necklace, confirmed Eleanor's plan, confirmed the $4,000. The Hawaii photos were real. The dates matched perfectly. The timeline was documented, July through August, 6 weeks. This wasn't confusion. This was theft. But the doubts lingered. Because that's what they wanted. They wanted me uncertain, self-questioning, weak. I thought about Martin's words. Elderly parents don't recognize they need help. That was the script they were building. The concerned daughter, the failing father, the necessary intervention, clean, sympathetic, legal. And if I resisted, I'd look like the problem, a stubborn old man refusing help. I opened my eyes and looked at the timeline again. Box 291. Tomorrow I'd know what Eleanor had left me, and then I'd decide how to fight. I spent the next hour organizing, created a folder, labeled it Evidence and Documentation. I divided the contents into 2 sections in my mind. For legal use, Walter Quinn's contact information. Eyewitness to necklace sale. Martin Hale's business card. Conservatorship threat. Dr. Owen's report dated July 2nd. To be refuted with independent evaluation. Conservatorship petition. Draft copy. Grace's statement. Shows their manipulation tactics, though I won't use it against Grace. Bank confirmation. Box 291 access tomorrow at 10 in the morning. For confrontation, only Hawaii printouts. Photos, dates, caption. Financial breakdown. Estimated $4,000 spending. Timeline analysis. August 12th sale leading directly to August 12th through 14th vacation. I wrote a note in the margin. The Hawaii photos won't hold up in court. No direct proof the vacation money came from the necklace. Vanessa could claim they saved up, that Lucas got a bonus, that they borrowed from friends. A judge wouldn't accept circumstantial timing, but the photos prove character. They prove intent. They prove who Vanessa really is. When I confront her, when I have real legal evidence from Box 291, these photos will show her I know. I know exactly what she did with Eleanor's memory. Then I made copies of everything and put the originals in a locked box. I wrote a final note in my notebook. Tomorrow, 10 in the morning. Portland Private Bank, 418 Southwest Broadway. Open Box 291. Read Eleanor's letter. Discover what she left me. Next steps. Call James Cartwright, Eleanor's attorney. Done. Get independent medical evaluation. Gather real legal evidence from Box 291. Build the case with James. Confront Vanessa, but only when I have proof that will stand up in court. I underlined the last line twice. No more defense, no more doubt. This time I'd have everything. I didn't sleep. Just sat in my chair. Watched the rain. Thought about Eleanor. She'd loved me for 48 years. She'd understood me better than I understood myself. And she'd protected me. Even from the grave. At 6 in the morning, the rain stopped. Light broke through the clouds, gray turning to gold. I stood, showered, and dressed. Put the evidence and documentation folder into my leather briefcase. The Hawaii photos were in there. Not as legal evidence, but as a reminder of what they'd done, of who they really were. At 9:30, I climbed into my pickup truck. Portland Private Bank, 418 Southwest Broadway. Box 291 was waiting. And so was Eleanor's truth. Whatever she'd left in that box, recording documents, instructions that would be the real evidence. The evidence that would stand up in court. The evidence that would protect me. The Hawaii photos were just the beginning. Tomorrow, I'd have the rest. The Portland Family Medicine Clinic was nearly empty on Saturday afternoon. James Cartwright and I walked through the glass doors at 2 o'clock. The receptionist looked up, surprised. "We're here to see Dr. Owen Mercer." James said, his voice calm and professional, the voice of a man who'd done this 1,000 times. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, but he'll want to see us." James handed her his card. "Attorney at law." She picked up the phone, spoke quietly, then nodded toward the hallway. "Room 3. He'll meet you there." We walked past empty exam rooms. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. My briefcase felt heavy in my hand. Inside was the retraction we needed him to sign the audio recording Eleanor had left, and the timeline James and I had built this morning after I opened box 291. Dr. Owen Mercer was waiting in his office, 58 years old, graying hair, wire-rimmed glasses. He looked smaller than I remembered. "Mr. Brooks, I wasn't expecting you. Is everything all right?" No, I said. "It's not." James stepped forward and extended his hand. "James Cartwright, I'm the attorney for Eleanor Brooks's estate. We need to talk about your report dated July 2nd. Dr. Owen's face changed. The color drained. "I have patients this afternoon. Your schedule says otherwise," James said. "And this won't take long, if you cooperate." Dr. Owen looked at me, then at James, then back at me. "What is this about?" I set my briefcase on his desk, opened it, and pulled out the medical report. "This, the report you wrote, the one that says I'm confused, forgetful, that I need cognitive screening." Dr. Owen swallowed. "Mr. Brooks, I documented what your daughter told me. My daughter lied," I said, "and you knew it." James pulled out a chair and sat. I remained standing. "Dr. Owen, we have reason to believe you were compensated to write a false medical report. That constitutes fraud, medical malpractice, and conspiracy to commit elder abuse." Dr. Owen's hands started shaking. "I don't know what you're talking about." James reached into his briefcase, pulled out a small audio recorder, and set it on the desk. Eleanor Brooks recorded a conversation between Vanessa Brooks and Lucas Reed 6 months before she died. They discussed several things, including bribing a doctor to write a false cognitive assessment. Dr. Owen sat down heavily. "We can play it if you'd like," James continued. "But I think you know what's on it." Silence. I leaned forward. $3,000. "That's what she paid you." Dr. Owen's face crumbled. "I didn't want to. You have to understand. I didn't want to. Then why did you—" He took off his glasses and rubbed his eyes. "Deborah, my wife. She has cancer. Stage 3 ovarian. The treatment we're drowning. $45,000 in debt. The insurance doesn't cover everything. We've been selling furniture, borrowing from family." He looked up at me, his eyes red. "Vanessa came to me in late June. She knew about Deborah. She said you were declining, that your family was worried, that they needed documentation for a conservatorship. I never said I was confused," I said. "I know." His voice was barely a whisper. "She told me what to write. She said it was just a formality, that you'd agreed to an evaluation, that she was trying to help you, and you believed her. I wanted to believe her. She offered $3,000, cash, said it would be delivered after the report was filed. And it was," he nodded. 2 days later, in an envelope, no return address." James leaned forward. "Do you have any communication from Vanessa, emails, texts?" Dr. Owen hesitated, then pulled out his phone. His hands were still shaking. He scrolled, stopped, and turned the screen toward us. I read the messages. June 28th. "Dr. Owen, I need your help. My father is declining. Can we meet? June 30. I know about Deborah's treatment. I want to help. $3,000. Just write the report as we discussed. July 1st. Your wife needs you. My father needs intervention. This helps everyone. Cash. No one will know. July 1st. Okay. James took photos of the screen with his own phone. These messages constitute evidence of conspiracy and medical fraud. Dr. Owen put the phone down. Am I going to lose my license? That depends, James said. On what you do next. James pulled out a document and set it on the desk. A formal retraction, in writing, stating that your July 2nd report was based on false information provided by Vanessa Brooks, not on clinical observation, that Calvin Brooks showed no signs of cognitive impairment during your examination. Dr. Owen stared at the document, then nodded. He turned to his computer, opened a document, and started typing. After 5 minutes, he turned the screen toward us. I, Dr. Owen Mercer, hereby retract my medical report dated July 2, 2025 regarding Calvin Brooks. The report was based on misleading and false information provided by a third party, not on direct clinical observation. During our appointment, Mr. Brooks demonstrated full cognitive capacity and showed no signs of impairment. He printed 3 copies, signed and dated each one, and handed them to us. I stood to leave and paused at the door. How is Deborah? Dr. Owen's face broke. She starts chemo next week. I thought the money would help, but I sold my integrity for it. Eleanor had cancer too, I said. She never asked me to lie for her. She protected me instead. Even after she died. I'm sorry, Mr. Brooks. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix it, I said. But helping us does. We walked out. In the parking lot, James unlocked his car. That's our second piece. Walter's testimony that Vanessa sold the necklace. Dr. Owen's retraction and the text messages proving fraud. Combined with what Eleanor left in box 291, we have a case. What happens Monday? We file a police report? Theft? Elder financial abuse? Conspiracy? Medical fraud? This isn't just civil anymore, Calvin. This is criminal. I climbed into my truck. James leaned against the door. You did good today. Eleanor would be proud. I thought about the box, the letter, the recording. Everything she'd left behind. She knew. 2 years ago, she knew Vanessa would do this. And she prepared, James said. Now we use what she left us. Monday, we'd file the report. And then Vanessa would learn what it meant to steal from someone who'd been loved by Eleanor Brooks. I pulled into the parking garage beneath Portland Private Bank at 9:55 Saturday morning. The building rose above me, glass and steel, 20 stories of wealth and secrets. I took the elevator to the lobby. Marble floors, high ceilings, chandeliers that caught the late summer light. The place was quiet. Saturdays always were. A sign directed me to the 3rd floor. Vault services, another elevator. My reflection stared back at me in the polished doors. 71 years old, tired, but not defeated. The 3rd floor reception was smaller, elegant. A woman sat behind a desk. I'm here to see Patricia Miller, I said. She picked up the phone, spoke quietly, and a moment later, a door opened. Patricia Miller was in her 50s, navy suit, silver jewelry, kind eyes behind modern frames. She extended her hand. Mr. Brooks, I've been expecting you. Her grip was firm, professional. Eleanor spoke of you often. I blinked. You knew Eleanor. Yeah, she opened box 291 2 years ago. January 2023. She was very particular about the arrangements. She wanted to make sure you'd have access when the time came. She knew, I said quietly. And she knew, Patricia agreed. She led me through a security checkpoint, checked my ID, had me sign a register, then through a second door with a keypad. We descended in an elevator. The hallway at the bottom was sterile. Concrete walls, fluorescent lights. A heavy steel door at the end. Patricia used a key card and entered a code. The door opened with a hydraulic hiss. The vault room was larger than I expected. Rows of safe deposit boxes lined the walls. climate-controlled, silent except for the hum of ventilation. Patricia walked to a section marked 200s. Box 291 was in the middle row. Waist height. We'll need both keys, mine and yours. I reached into my pocket, found the small silver key Eleanor had left with Walter. My hand shook as I inserted it into the lock. Patricia inserted hers on the opposite side. On 3, 1, 2, 3, we turned the keys simultaneously. The lock clicked. The box slid out. A long metal drawer. Heavier than I expected, Patricia gestured to a small room off to the side. A table, a chair, a door. Take your time. I'll be outside when you're ready. She left. The door closed softly. I was alone. I carried the box to the table, set it down carefully, took a breath, opened the lid. The first thing I saw was money. Stacks of $100 bills wrapped in bank bands, bundled and organized. I counted. 12 bundles of $10,000. 7 bundles of $1,000. $127,000. A note was attached. Eleanor's handwriting. For emergencies, for freedom, for starting over. I love you. E. My throat tightened. Beneath the cash was a large manila envelope labeled property. I opened it. A property deed, heavy paper, official seal, 187 Ocean View Drive, Cannon Beach, Clatsop County, Oregon. Purchased March 2023, $380,000. Mortgage free. Owner Calvin Brooks. My name, not Eleanor's. She'd bought a house without telling me and put it in my name alone. Another note. Our dream, the ocean, peace. It's yours now. I remembered. 20 years ago. A weekend trip to Cannon Beach. Eleanor standing on the sand wind in her hair. Someday when we retire, let's live by the ocean. She'd made it happen, even knowing she wouldn't be there. The next item was a plastic sleeve. Stock certificates inside. Intel. Nike. Starbucks. A handwritten note. Current value approximately $80,000. For security. For peace of mind. I wanted this for Vanessa's education once. But not anymore. I stared at that line. Not anymore. The next item made me stop. A small digital audio recorder. Silver, modern. A post-it note stuck to the top. Eleanor's handwriting, play me first, E. I picked it up and pressed play. Eleanor's voice filled the small room. Calvin, my love, if you're hearing this, I'm gone. And Vanessa has made her move. 6 months ago, I hid a recorder in our living room, behind the clock on the mantel. I suspected Vanessa was planning something. I needed proof. Not suspicion. Proof. Her voice was calm, strong. The voice I'd loved for 48 years. What you're about to hear was recorded on February 14th, 2024. Valentine's Day. You were at the hardware store. Vanessa and Lucas came over. They didn't know I was in the bedroom listening. A click. The recording changed. Different voices now. Younger. Sharper. Vanessa's voice. We need to move faster. Dad's still sharp. We need documentation. Lucas. The doctor thing is risky. Vanessa. Owen's desperate. His wife has cancer. $5,000 in cash, he'll write whatever we want. My hands clenched around the recorder. Lucas. And if Calvin fights back, Vanessa laughed. He won't. He's old, grieving, alone. We'll make him look incompetent. Grace will sign a statement if we ask the right questions. Owen's report will back it up. Then conservatorship. Lucas, what about the house? Vanessa. First thing we sell. $400,000 easy. Pay off my Lexus, Lucas's vendor debts. Maybe another vacation. Hawaii was nice. Dad won't even know what hit him. The recording ended. Silence. Eleanor's voice returned. I'm sorry you had to hear that, my darling. But you needed to know. Not just suspect. No. Use this recording. Protect yourself. James Cartwright knows what to do. I've left detailed instructions with him. The trust documents are in the box. The deed, the money, everything you need to be free. A pause. I love you, Calvin. I've always loved you. From the day we met to the day I die. And I'm still protecting you. Even now. Even from here. Live, my love. Live the life we dreamed about. Go to the ocean, watch the sunsets, be at peace. I'll be with you. Always. Click. The recording ended. I sat in the silence staring at the recorder in my hands. Eleanor had known. Not suspected. Known. She'd heard them planning, scheming, laughing about it, and she'd recorded every word. I looked at the remaining items. Legal documents, title, irrevocable trust. Eleanor had transferred assets into a trust. I was the sole beneficiary. Vanessa was explicitly excluded. The trust couldn't be touched, couldn't be contested. Eleanor had locked everything away from Vanessa's reach. 2 years ago. I gathered the items carefully. The recorder and trust documents I kept out. The rest I placed back in the box. Patricia Miller was waiting in the hall. Are you all right, Mr. Brooks? I looked at her. I am now, she smiled. Eleanor was a remarkable woman. Yes, I said. She was. I walked out into the late morning sun. The recorder was in my pocket. Eleanor's voice still echoing in my mind. Vanessa's voice, too. Cold. Calculating. Laughing. Dad won't even know what hit him. But I did know. Now I knew everything. And this afternoon I'd use it. Hold on before I open Eleanor's letter and share what she wrote. Tell me, are you ready for this? Drop a comment with how you're feeling right now. Are you anxious? Heartbroken, hopeful that Calvin gets justice? I want to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. This journey isn't over. One note. Some details moving forward blend creative storytelling with meaningful lessons. If that doesn't suit your preference, you're welcome to step away now. I sat in Eleanor's chair. The house was quiet. Evening light filtered through the windows, turning everything gold. Outside, the neighborhood settled into Saturday night. Families, dinners, laughter. Inside, I was alone. The envelope sat on the coffee table. Cream-colored paper. Thick. Expensive. My name written in Eleanor's careful handwriting. Sealed with red wax. I'd carried it home from the bank this morning. Through the confrontation with Dr. Owen. Through the long afternoon of planning with James. But I hadn't opened it. I wasn't ready. Now I was. I poured 2 fingers of whiskey, sat back down, and picked up the envelope. The wax seal broke with a soft crack. Inside, several pages. Folded. Eleanor's handwriting covered every line. Dated January 10th, 2023. 2.5 years ago. I unfolded the pages, smoothed them on my lap, and started reading. My dearest Calvin, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And Vanessa has made her move. I'm writing this on January 10th, 2023. The doctors gave me the news yesterday. Stage 4. 12 to 18 months. The cancer took my body, my love. But it sharpened my mind. It gave me time, and I used that time to build a safety net. For you. 6 weeks ago, I started to suspect Vanessa was planning something. Little comments, questions about the house, about your memory, about whether you'd updated your will. So I hid a recorder behind the clock on the mantle. On February 14th, 2024, Valentine's Day, you went to the hardware store. Vanessa and Lucas came over. They didn't know I was in the bedroom listening. I heard everything, Calvin. The bribery, Dr. Owen and his wife's cancer, $5,000 to write a false report, the conservatorship plan, Grace's statement, the timeline, the house sale, $400,000. Split it, pay debts, take vacations, and the laughter? Vanessa laughed, Calvin. She said you wouldn't even know what hit you. It broke my heart, but it opened my eyes. My hands shook. I set the glass down. I couldn't tell you while I was alive. You would have confronted her. She would have denied everything. There'd be no proof, just accusations, and she'd have turned it around. Made you look paranoid, unstable, so I built this instead. Evidence, assets, a plan. Here's what I've left you, $127,000 in cash. Every penny I could save without you noticing. I'm sorry for the secrecy, but it's yours now. For freedom. For starting over. The house in Cannon Beach, 187 Ocean View Drive. I bought it in March 2023. Paid $380,000. Mortgage free. I put it in your name only. Vanessa can't touch it. Do you remember Calvin 20 years ago? That weekend at the coast, I stood on the beach and said, someday when we retire, let's live by the ocean. Well, someday is now. The house is yours. Go there. Live there. Watch the sunsets I'll never see. Stock certificates, $80,000. For security, for peace of mind, an irrevocable trust. Everything is protected. Vanessa cannot contest it, cannot access it, cannot take it from you. The recording, the necklace, the number 291. They're all connected, my love. I knew Vanessa would take it. I knew she'd sell it to Walter, and I knew Walter would call you. 291 would lead you to the box. The box would give you the weapons. The weapons would set you free. I wiped my eyes and kept reading. Calvin, we had 48 years together. Not enough, never enough, but beautiful. I remember the courthouse. January 29th, 1977. You wore your only suit. I wore a white dress from Goodwill. We had $12 left after paying for the marriage license. We didn't care. We had each other. And 28 years later, you gave me the necklace. January 29th, 2005. My 50th birthday. The same date we married. You saved for 6 months. I know you did. I noticed the skipped lunches, the extra shifts, the worn shoes. When you gave me that box, I cried. Not because of the necklace, because of what it meant. That after 28 years, you still chose me, still sacrificed for me, still loved me. I wore it every day for 20 years. It wasn't just jewelry. It was you, your love, your sacrifice, your promise. And when I knew I was dying, I knew what I had to do. That necklace, your gift to me, would become my gift back to you. Protection. Proof. A path forward. I'm not afraid of dying, my love. I'm afraid of leaving you vulnerable, alone, unprotected. So I built this. The plan, the trap, the safety net. I protected you in life. I'm protecting you in death. Live, Calvin. Go to Cannon Beach. Watch the sunsets. Walk on the sand. Feel the wind. Know I'm there with you. You are the love of my life. My only love. My forever love. 48 years wasn't enough. 1,000 wouldn't be enough. But it was ours. And it was beautiful. All my love, always and forever, Eleanor. I sat there, letter in my lap, tears on my face. Then I saw it. A postscript at the bottom. P.S. Box, 291. January 29th, 1977. The day you chose me at the courthouse. January 29th, 2005. The day you gave me the necklace for my 50th birthday. The same date. Twice. That's when I knew Calvin. You don't just love once. You love forever. 291 is our number. Our day, our promise. I had Walter shorten the chain so it fits you. Wear it, my darling. Let it remind you every day I chose you too. Every single day. Even now. Even from here. Forever yours, Eleanor. I folded the letter carefully and slid it back into the envelope. Then I reached into my pocket. The necklace. I'd carried it since Walter gave it back to me. White gold. Heart clasp. The number 291 hidden inside. I opened the clasp and put it around my neck. The chain was shorter now. Masculine. It rested against my chest. Right over my heart. I closed the clasp. The weight of it settled. Warm. Familiar. Eleanor. I looked at her chair across from me. It wasn't empty anymore. She was there. In the letter. In the plan. In the necklace. In the love that had carried me through 48 years and would carry me through whatever came next. I love you too, I whispered. Forever. The house was quiet, but I wasn't alone. I called James Sunday morning. I'm ready, I said. Let's build the case. Come to my office, 2 o'clock. James Cartwright's law firm occupied the 15th floor of a downtown Portland high-rise. Glass and steel. The Willamette River glittered below. His office was a corner suite. Mahogany desk. Floor-to-ceiling bookshelves lined with law volumes. Framed diplomas on the wall. Stanford Law. Oregon State Bar. I arrived at 2. The necklace rested against my chest, visible above my shirt collar. James noticed and nodded respectfully. Eleanor, she wanted me to wear it? Then let's make sure her plan works. He led me to a conference room. Long table, windows overlooking the city. I set my briefcase down and started pulling out documents. The audio recorder, Walter's written statement, Dr. Owen's retraction letter and text messages, the Hawaii printouts, Eleanor's trust documents, the timeline I'd written. James spread everything across the table. Let's go through it, piece by piece. He picked up Walter's statement first. Walter Quinn's testimony is solid. Eyewitness to the sale. August 12th. Vanessa and Lucas. $4,000 cash. He has a receipt with Vanessa's signature. Walter's a respected businessman. Clean record. 38 years in business. A judge will believe him. He set it aside and picked up the audio recorder. This is the smoking gun. He pressed play. I'd heard it twice now. It didn't get easier. Vanessa's voice. Owen's desperate. His wife has cancer. 5,000 cash, he'll write whatever we want. Lucas, what about the house? Vanessa, first thing we sell. 400,000 easy. Her laugh. James stopped the recording. Eleanor recorded this in her own home. Oregon is a one-party consent state. That means she didn't need their permission to record a conversation she was part of, even if she was just listening from another room. This is admissible. It's enough for charges. Theft. Elder financial abuse under Oregon Statute 124.110. Conspiracy to commit fraud. Medical fraud through Dr. Owen. James ticked them off on his fingers. Yes, these are criminal charges, Calvin. Not just civil. They could go to prison. He picked up Dr. Owen's documents next. Owen's retraction letter contradicts his July 2nd report. The text messages from Vanessa prove she bribed him. He's agreed to testify. That seals the conspiracy charge. Then he looked at the Hawaii printouts and examined the photos. Vanessa on the beach. Lucas with his Mai Tai. The sunset cruise. He shook his head. Circumstantial. The timeline matches. They sold the necklace August 12th and flew to Hawaii the same day. But there's no direct proof the vacation money came from the necklace. They could claim they'd been saving, that Lucas got a work bonus. that they borrowed from family. So they're useless. Not useless, James corrected. They're useful for confrontation, for showing Vanessa you know what she did. They're moral evidence, but they won't hold up in court. I nodded. I'd suspected as much. James picked up the trust documents last. Eleanor's irrevocable trust is perfect. She transferred assets before she died. You're the sole beneficiary. Vanessa is explicitly excluded. The trust can't be broken, can't be contested. He smiled slightly. The conservatorship petition Martin Hale threatened dead in the water. Once we show this recording and your medical evaluation, that petition is over. Medical evaluation? We need one more piece. Independent assessment. Proof you're cognitively sound. I've arranged an appointment. 11 this morning. Dr. Sarah Jenkins, geriatric specialist. She's excellent. Dr. Sarah Jenkins's clinic was in the Pearl District. Small, private, tastefully decorated. Dr. Jenkins was in her 50s, Asian American, kind eyes behind stylish frames. She shook my hand warmly. Mr. Brooks, James explained the situation. Let's get started. The evaluation took 45 minutes. Memory tests. She gave me a list of words and asked me to repeat them, then asked again 5 minutes later. Problem solving. If you have $15 and buy 3 items for $3 each, how much change do you get? Orientation. What's today's date? Who's the president? What city are we in? Clock drawing. Draw a clock showing 3:15. Current events. Tell me about something you've read in the news this week. I answered everything easily. My mind was sharp, clear. The fog of grief had lifted. Dr. Jenkins smiled. Mr. Brooks, your cognitive function is excellent. No signs of impairment, no dementia, no confusion. Frankly, you're as sharp as someone 20 years younger. She typed on her computer, printed a report, signed it, and handed it to me. This refutes Dr. Owen's July 2nd report completely. If anyone questions your capacity, show them this. I thanked her, folded the report carefully, and put it in my briefcase. Back at James's office, the afternoon sun slanted through the windows. James read Dr. Jenkins's report and smiled. Perfect. This is the final piece. He walked to a whiteboard and picked up a marker. Let me show you the strategy. He wrote Monday, August 23rd, 9 o'clock a.m. We file a police report. Portland Police Central Precinct. We'll bring copies of everything. The recording, Walter's statement, Dr. Owen's texts and retraction, your medical evaluation. What happens then? A detective is assigned. He reviews the evidence. If he agrees there's probable cause, which he will, he forwards it to the district attorney. The DA decides whether to file charges. And if they do, an arrest warrant is issued. Vanessa and Lucas are arrested. Probably within 24 to 48 hours. They're arraigned. Bail hearing. Then either trial or a plea deal. James capped the marker. What are their chances of beating these charges? 0. The recording alone is devastating. Combined with Walter's testimony and Dr. Owen's confession, they'll plead guilty to avoid trial. No competent defense attorney would let this go to a jury. What kind of sentence? Theft and elder abuse in Oregon, 18 months to 3 years. Maybe more if the judge is tough on elder crimes. Maybe less if you testify and ask for leniency. I'll think about it. James turned to me. Tomorrow 9 in the morning. Portland Police Central Precinct. Bring your ID. I'll meet you there. I stood and shook his hand. Thank you. For everything. For helping Eleanor. For helping me. James smiled. Eleanor was a remarkable woman. I'm honored to finish what she started. I walked out into the late afternoon sun. The city spread below me. Portland, my home for 48 years. Tomorrow Vanessa would learn what it meant to steal from someone protected by Eleanor Brooks. I drove home and changed the locks on my doors, front and back. new keys, new bolts. Then I sat in Eleanor's chair. The necklace was warm against my chest. Tomorrow the fight would begin, but tonight I was ready. The Portland Police Central Precinct sat like a concrete fortress on Southwest 2nd Avenue, all glass and gray stone, under an August sky that couldn't decide between sun and rain. I parked across the street at 9 o'clock Monday morning, James Cartwright beside me, a leather briefcase, heavy with evidence resting on his lap. "Ready?" he asked. I touched the necklace beneath my collar. Eleanor's necklace. The one that had started all of this. "Let's go." Inside, fluorescent lights hummed overhead. The lobby smelled like burnt coffee and old paperwork. James approached the front desk, spoke quietly to the officer behind the plexiglass, and 5 minutes later, we were led down a narrow hallway to a windowless room marked Financial Crimes Unit. Detective Maria Santos was younger than I expected, maybe 42, dark hair pulled back in a tight bun, sharp eyes that missed nothing. She shook our hands, gestured to the metal chairs across from her desk, and sat down with a yellow legal pad already covered in notes. "Mr. Brooks, Mr. Cartwright, you filed a preliminary report online Saturday night. Let's go through everything." James opened the briefcase. One by one, he laid the evidence on her desk, like cards in a poker game where the stakes were my daughter's freedom. Walter Quinn's signed statement. Receipt for $4,000. Dated August 12th. The audio recording from Box 291. A small digital device with a yellow sticky note in Eleanor's handwriting. "Play me first." Dr. Owen Mercer's retraction letter. 3 pages signed, notarized. Attached screenshots of text messages. Vanessa's number at the top of everyone. Dr. Sarah Jenkins's independent evaluation. Stamped and sealed. Conclusion. Calvin Brooks, fully competent, no signs of cognitive decline. The conservatorship petition. Martin Hale's letterhead. Filed but not yet submitted to court. Detective Santos leaned forward. Her pen moved fast across the pad. "Walk me through the timeline." James did. I sat silent, hands folded, listening to my life reduced to dates and evidence. July 2nd, August 12th, August 16th, August 20th. Santos picked up the audio device. "May I?" "Please," James said. She pressed play. Vanessa's voice filled the room. February 14th, 2024. Valentine's Day. Eleanor had been dying, and my daughter had been laughing about it. Once she's gone, he'll be easy. Owen said he'd write whatever we need. $5,000 cash. Then we file, get conservatorship, sell the house. Split it down the middle. Lucas quieter, uncertain. "You sure he won't fight? He's 70 years old, babe." "He's slowing down. Owen's report will say he's losing it. Grace'll back us up. Who's he gonna believe, us or himself?" Laughter, cold and bright. Santos stopped the recording. Her jaw was tight. "How did you obtain this?" My late wife," I said. My voice came out rough. "She hid it in a safe deposit box. She knew." Santos wrote for a full minute. When she looked up, her eyes had gone hard. "Mr. Brooks, based on what you've presented, I'm recommending charges for theft in the second-degree elder financial abuse under Oregon Revised Statute 124. 110 conspiracy to commit fraud and medical records fraud. We'll forward Dr. Mercer's materials to the state medical board separately." My chest tightened. "How long?" 24 to 48 hours for the warrant. "We'll move fast." We left at 11:30. Outside, the sky had made up its mind. Rain. James called at 2 o'clock Tuesday afternoon. "Warrant's been signed. They're moving in at 4:30. Maria wanted you to know." Where? He gave me the address. 1824 Southeast Division Street. Vanessa and Lucas's apartment. "You don't have to go," James said gently. I said. "I do." I arrived at 4:20 and parked 50 feet down the block. Two patrol cars sat silent at the curb, no lights, no sirens. Detective Santos stepped out of an unmarked sedan, flanked by two uniformed officers. She glanced my way, nodded once, and approached the door. She knocked. 3 hard raps. The door opened. Vanessa stood there in yoga pants and an oversized sweatshirt, hair tied back, barefoot. Lucas appeared behind her, hands shoved in his pockets. Santos held up her badge. Vanessa Brooks, Lucas Reed, Portland Police. We have a warrant for your arrest. You're being charged with theft, elder, financial abuse, conspiracy to commit fraud, and medical records fraud. You have the right to remain silent. Vanessa's face went white. What? Her eyes darted past Santos, found me standing by my car. Dad, what did you do? I said nothing, just held her gaze. You have the right to an attorney, Santos continued. One of the officers caught Vanessa's arm, gently turned her around. The handcuffs clicked. Dad, you're going to regret this. I'm your daughter. Lucas didn't fight. He let them cuff him in silence, face gray eyes on the ground. Vanessa twisted back toward me as they led her to the patrol car. You did this. You're supposed to love me. The words hit like stones. But I didn't move. Didn't speak. The door slammed. Lucas climbed into the second car without a word. The engines started. Lights flashing now, no sirens. The cars pulled away down Division, turned the corner, disappeared. I stood there in the rain, hands shaking, throat tight. James appeared at my elbow. I hadn't heard him arrive. Eleanor would be proud, he said quietly. I nodded, couldn't trust my voice. I drove home in silence and sat in the dark living room. Rain streaking the windows, the necklace cold against my chest. Vanessa's voice echoed in my head. You're supposed to love me. I closed my eyes. Thought of Eleanor's letter. Protect yourself even from her. She'd known. She'd known for years. At 7:30, James called. Arraignments tomorrow, 10 a.m., Multnomah County Courthouse. I hung up and sat for a long time in the quiet. Finally, I looked up at Eleanor's photograph on the mantel, her smile steady and sure. Thank you, I whispered. My phone buzzed. James again. Calvin, get some rest. Tomorrow we face them in court. I ended the call and climbed the stairs. The necklace stayed around my neck. It always would. Tomorrow the trial would begin, and the truth would be spoken in open court. The Multnomah County Courthouse rose like a monument to justice on Southwest 4th Avenue. All granite columns and tall windows that let autumn light pour into its corridors. I walked through the metal detectors at 9:30 on a Tuesday morning in early October. James Cartwright beside me, a folder of documents tucked under his arm. 6 weeks had passed since the arrest. 6 weeks of sleepless nights, of replaying Eleanor's voice on that recording, of wondering if I'd done the right thing. Today I'd find out. The courtroom was on the 3rd floor, wood-paneled and high-ceilinged, with rows of benches that smelled faintly of furniture polish and old paper. James led me to the front row behind the prosecution table. I sat down, hands folded in my lap, the necklace heavy beneath my collar. Across the aisle at the defense table, Vanessa and Lucas sat with their attorney, Sarah Whitmore. Vanessa wore a dark gray suit, her hair pulled back, no makeup. Lucas wore navy blue, his hands clasped on the table in front of him. Neither of them looked at me. I looked at them. My daughter, the man she'd married, 2 people I'd welcomed into my life, my home, my family. 2 people who'd tried to take everything. At 10 o'clock, the bailiff called. All rise. Judge Patricia Brennan entered from a door behind the bench. She was 58, silver hair, cropped short, sharp eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. She settled into her chair, surveyed the room, and nodded. I'll be seated. Court is now in session. Case number 25 CR 08947, State of Oregon versus Vanessa Brooks and Lucas Reed. Deputy District Attorney Michael Scott stood. Mid-40s, trim-build, dark suit and tie. His voice carried clearly. Your Honor, the state will prove that Vanessa Brooks and Lucas Reed engaged in a calculated months-long conspiracy to defraud Calvin Brooks, a 71-year-old man, through theft, elder financial abuse, and medical fraud. Sarah Whitmore rose. 50-something gray hair in a bun, confident posture. Your Honor, my clients maintain their innocence. The evidence will show this is a tragic misunderstanding between a father and daughter. Judge Brennan gestured. Proceed, Mr. Scott. Scott called his first witness. The state calls Walter Quinn. Walter walked to the stand, slowly, hand trembling slightly, as he raised it for the oath. He looked older than I remembered, gray stubble on his jaw, eyes tired. Scott asked him to recount August 12th. Walter cleared his throat. A woman and a man came into my shop around 2 in the afternoon. The woman said her name was Vanessa Brooks. She had a necklace, 14-karat white gold heart clasp. Beautiful piece. She said she needed cash fast. Scott held up a photograph. Is this the necklace? Walter leaned forward. Yes. That's it. Scott introduced the receipt into evidence. $4,000. Dated August 12, 2025. Whitmore cross-examined briefly, but Walter's testimony held. Scott called his second witness. The state calls Dr. Owen Mercer. A murmur rippled through the courtroom. Owen walked to the stand, face pale, shoulders hunched. He took the oath with a shaking hand. Scott didn't waste time. Dr. Mercer, did you write a medical report concerning Calvin Brooks on July 2nd of this year? Yes. Was that report accurate? Silence. And Dr. Mercer, Owen looked down. No, it wasn't. Why did you write it? Owen's voice cracked. Vanessa Brooks contacted me in late June. She offered me $5,000 to write a report that would support a conservatorship petition. My wife has cancer. Stage 3. We owe $45,000 in medical bills. I was desperate. The courtroom went still. Scott displayed text messages on the overhead screen. June 28th through July 1st. Vanessa's number at the top of everyone. And did she pay you? Yes, cash, in an envelope. Whitmore had no questions. Scott returned to his table and picked up a small audio device. Your Honor, the state would like to introduce Exhibit 12, an audio recording made by Eleanor Brooks on February 14th, 2024. Judge Brennan nodded. Proceed. Scott pressed play. Eleanor's voice filled the courtroom, soft and weary. Calvin, if you're listening to this, I'm already gone. What you're about to hear, I recorded it 2 weeks ago. They didn't know. I'm sorry you have to hear it this way, but you need to know. A pause. Then Vanessa's voice, bright and clear. Once she's gone, he'll be easy. Owen said he'd write whatever we need. $5,000 cash. Then we file, get conservatorship, sell the house. Split it down the middle. Lucas quieter. You sure he won't fight? Vanessa laughed. He's 70 years old, babe. He's slowing down. Owen's report will say he's losing it. Who's he gonna believe, us or himself? The recording played for 4 minutes. Every word, every plan, every calculation. When it ended, the silence was absolute. I didn't look away from Vanessa. She sat with her eyes closed, shoulders trembling. Lucas stared at the table. Judge Brennan called a recess. After lunch, Sarah Whitmore requested a conference in chambers. 30 minutes later, the bailiff called us back in. Whitmore stood. Your Honor, after consultation with my clients and review of the evidence, Ms. Brooks and Mr. Reed wished to change their plea to guilty on all counts. Vanessa and Lucas rose. Mrs. Brooks. Vanessa's voice was hoarse. Guilty, Your Honor. Mr. Reed. Guilty, Your Honor. Judge Brennan nodded slowly. The court accepts your plea. We will proceed to sentencing. James stood. Your Honor, Mr. Brooks would like to make a statement. The judge gestured. Mr. Brooks, you may approach. I walked to the witness stand, gripped the railing, and looked out at Vanessa. Your Honor, Vanessa is my daughter. I raised her. I loved her. I still love her. But what she did wasn't just theft. It was betrayal. They tried to take my freedom, my home, my dignity. They tried to make me believe I was losing my mind. My wife Eleanor knew. She saw it coming years before I did. She protected me even from the grave. I touched the necklace. I don't want to destroy them, but I need them to understand what they did was wrong. I need justice, and I need to be safe, Vanessa whispered. I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't answer. Judge Brennan studied the file in front of her, then looked up. Vanessa Brooks, Lucas Reed. This court has reviewed the evidence, the testimony, and Mr. Brooks's statement. What you did was calculated, cruel, and targeted a vulnerable family member. You are each sentenced to 18 months in the Oregon Department of Corrections, followed by 36 months of post-prison supervision. You will pay restitution to Calvin Brooks in the amount of $4,000. A no-contact order is issued for 5 years. The gavel came down. This court is adjourned. 2 officers led them out through a side door. Vanessa looked back once, eyes red and swollen. I sat still, hands gripping the armrest. James put his hand on my shoulder. It's over. I nodded and let out a long, shaking breath. Yeah, it's over. The drive from Portland to Cannon Beach took 90 minutes on a gray Saturday morning in mid-November. Highway 26 wound through evergreen forests, past farmland and fog-shrouded valleys until the trees gave way, and suddenly the Pacific stretched out wide and endless under a sky the color of steel. A weather-beaten sign appeared on the right, "Welcome to Cannon Beach." I turned onto Ocean View Drive. Number 187 sat at the end of a gravel driveway, a single-story cottage painted white with blue-trimmed windows and a gray shingled roof. A wooden deck wrapped around the front, facing the ocean. South of the house, Haystack Rock rose from the surf like a cathedral. I parked, turned off the engine, and sat for a moment in the silence. This was it. The house Eleanor had kept secret for years. The house she'd known I'd need. I unlocked the front door with the key from box 291 and stepped inside. The living room was simple. Hardwood floors, a stone fireplace, tall windows overlooking the deck and the water beyond. The furniture was basic but clean, a faded blue couch, a coffee table, a rocking chair by the hearth. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. Everything I needed. Nothing more. I walked to the sliding glass door, opened it, and stepped out onto the deck. The wind hit me immediately, cold and salt-sharp, carrying the roar of the surf. Waves rolled in, steady and endless white foam spreading across dark sand. Gulls circled overhead, their cries lost in the wind. I gripped the railing, closed my eyes, and breathed. First real breath in months. "Oh, Eleanor," I whispered. "You knew I'd need this." The wind answered, wild and steady. That afternoon, I unpacked. I hadn't brought much from Portland, just clothes, a few books, some framed photographs. A wedding photo of Eleanor and me, January 29th, 1977. A picture of her on her 50th birthday, wearing the necklace I'd given her. The necklace stayed around my neck. I hadn't taken it off since the day Walter handed it back to me. I hung Eleanor's photo above the fireplace mantel and set the wooden box containing her letter beside it. My phone rang. James Cartwright. "Calvin, you made it." "Yeah, just got here." "How's the house?" I looked around. "Perfect." "Good. You deserve some peace." We hung up. I sat on the old couch and stared out the window. Sunset was painting the ocean gold and orange, the clouds streaked with pink. Eleanor was everywhere in this house. I decided to walk the beach. I put on my heavy coat, wrapped a scarf around my neck, and headed out. The sky was overcast, but dry, the wind gusting hard. I walked down the wooden steps from the deck, crossed the narrow strip of beach grass, and stepped onto the sand. It was cold and wet, packed, firm by the tide. Waves crashed 20 feet away, sending spray into the air. The smell of salt and kelp filled my lungs. Haystack Rock loomed to my right, barnacles and mussels clinging to its base. I walked south along the waterline for half an hour, passing a couple with a golden retriever, a man flying a kite, a woman collecting shells. Each of them nodded as I passed. Strangers, but kind. By 3 o'clock, I was back at the house making coffee, settling onto the deck with a wool blanket and a book. I sat there as the afternoon faded, listening to the waves, watching the clouds shift and break apart. I didn't think about Vanessa, didn't think about the trial, just the ocean, the wind, the silence. Sunset came at 5, turning the sky orange, then red, then deep purple. I stood at the deck railing, hands resting on the weathered wood, and watched the sun sink toward the horizon. I touched the necklace. The gold was warm from my skin. Eleanor had known. She'd known I would need this place. A refuge. A place to start over. Thank you, I whispered into the wind. For everything. The wind picked up strong and steady like an answer. I stood there until the sky went dark. Then I turned, walked back inside, and closed the door behind me. Tomorrow I'd explore the town, meet the neighbors, start building a new life. But tonight I just needed peace. And for the first time since Eleanor died, I had it. 3 months in Cannon Beach, and mornings still surprised me. I woke at 6:30 on a Wednesday in mid-February, the room dark, the sound of surf rolling steady through the walls. I made coffee, wrapped a wool blanket around my shoulders, and stepped onto the deck. The sky was turning from black to deep blue, the horizon beginning to glow pink and gold. The ocean stretched out endless and gray waves breaking white along the shore. I breathed, sipped coffee, watched the light grow. This was my routine now. Up early, coffee on the deck, a 2-mile walk along the beach, home for breakfast. Mornings spent reading or working around the house. Wednesdays and Fridays at 10, I went to the Cannon Beach Library for the Seniors Book Club. This week we were reading A Gentleman in Moscow. I liked it. Reminded me that even in confinement, life could be rich. Afternoons, I tended the small herb garden I'd started, basil, mint, rosemary, or just sat and watched the ocean. Life was simple, full. For the first time in years, I didn't feel rushed or afraid. At 2 o'clock, I drove 15 minutes south to Seaside to see Dr. Linda Morrison. Her office sat on a quiet street, a small building with wood siding and tall windows. I'd been seeing her since December, every Wednesday, 2 o'clock. Inside, the waiting room smelled like lavender. Dr. Morrison came out to greet me. 58, gray hair, warm eyes, soft voice. "Calvin, come on back." We settled into her office. 2 chairs by the window, a low table between us. "How was your week?" she asked. I told her about the book club, about the new batch of mint coming up in the garden. Small things, good things. Then she asked, "Have you thought more about Vanessa?" I looked out the window and watched the branches sway. "Yeah, I think about her a lot." "What do you think about?" "I remember her as a kid. She used to laugh all the time, drew pictures, ran around the backyard with our dog. I don't know what changed." Dr. Morrison nodded. "Grief and fear can change people, Calvin. Losing her mother, financial stress, it doesn't excuse what she did, but it explains it. Can I forgive her?" She tilted her head. "That's up to you. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting. It's about releasing the anger so it doesn't poison you." The session ended at 3. I felt exhausted but lighter. On the way home, I stopped at a flower shop and bought white tulips, Eleanor's favorite. I got back to the house at 4 and carried the tulips out to the deck. In the corner, I'd built a small memorial for Eleanor, a low wooden table. On it, a framed photograph of her from 2010 taken right here at Cannon Beach. Her hair blowing in the wind, her smile easy and bright. A candle, a few smooth beach stones, and a small wooden plaque I'd had engraved Eleanor Brooks, 1955 to 2024. Forever my light. I set the tulips in a vase, lit the candle, and sat down in the chair beside the table. Hey, sweetheart, 3 months now. I'm trying. Life here, it's peaceful. Like you knew it would be. I touched the necklace at my throat. I talked about Vanessa with Dr. Morrison today. I'm still angry, still hurt. But I think I'm starting to understand why you did what you did. You wanted to protect me, even if it meant I'd lose her. Tears slid down my face. Thank you for everything, for this house, for Box 291, for loving me enough to do the hard things. The wind picked up gentle and steady. The candle flame flickered but didn't go out. I sat there until the sun set. I stood by the window at 9 o'clock, looking out at the dark beach. Just moonlight and the distant blink of the Tillamook lighthouse. I thought about the journey. Eleanor's death, Vanessa's conspiracy, the necklace, Box 291, the trial. All of it had led here, to this house, to this peace. I wasn't happy, not completely. The grief was still there, a hollow place where Eleanor used to be a wound, where Vanessa used to be. But I wasn't hopeless either. There was hope. There was a future, a new beginning at 71. I touched the necklace one last time before bed. The gold was cool, heavy with meaning. Eleanor had given me this necklace in 2005. 20 years later, it had saved me. We're going to be okay, Eleanor, I whispered into the darkness. Eventually, we're going to be okay. Then I turned off the lights and went to bed. Tomorrow, life would continue. And for the first time in a long while, I was looking forward to it. Late April brought warmth back to Cannon Beach. The sky was clear for the first time in weeks. The ocean calm waves rolling in, lazy and slow. I was in the side yard planting tomatoes and green onions when I heard a car pull up. I stood, wiped my hands on my jeans, and turned. An old Honda Civic sat at the curb. Not the Lexus anymore. The doors opened. Vanessa stepped out first. Lucas followed a few paces behind. They both looked different, thinner. Vanessa's hair was shorter, pulled back in a ponytail. Lucas wore a plain gray hoodie, hands shoved in his pockets. No designer clothes, no polish. They looked like people who'd been through something. Vanessa stopped about 10 feet away. Her eyes met mine. "Hi, Dad." I didn't answer right away, just looked at her. My daughter. The person who'd tried to take everything from me. "Vanessa!" Silence hung between us, heavy and strange. "Why are you here?" I asked. Vanessa swallowed. "We got out early, 15 months instead of 18. Good behavior. We wanted to talk to you, if you'll let us." I studied them for a long moment, then gestured toward the house. "Come inside." We stood in the living room. Vanessa looked around at Eleanor's photograph above the mantel, at the simple furniture, at the life I'd built without them. She turned back to me, eyes red. "Dad, I'm sorry. I know those words aren't enough. I know I hurt you. I planned to take your freedom, your house, your life." Tears slid down her face. I was scared. We were bankrupt. Lucas lost his job. I lost Mom. And I was angry. Angry that she was gone. Angry that you were still here and she wasn't. Lucas stepped forward. It was my fault too. I pushed her. I said we needed the money. I held up a hand. Don't make excuses for each other. You were both responsible. You planned this. You bribed Dr. Owen. You manipulated Grace. You stole the one thing your mother treasured most. She nodded, sobbing now. Yes, I did. And I wish I could take it back. I sighed. But you can't. What's done is done. But you can move forward. Both of you. I sat down and gestured to the couch. They sat across from me, hands clasped together. "Where have you been since you got out?" "I'm Matsu. We're staying with a friend in Gresham. I'm working at a coffee shop. Lucas is working at a warehouse. We're paying the restitution, $200 a month. I nodded. If you want me to consider forgiving you, you have to prove it. Not with words. With actions. Pay off the restitution. Keep your jobs. Stay compliant with parole. Keep going to therapy. After the no-contact order expires, if you still want to, we can talk again. Really talk. I understand, she said. I'll do whatever it takes. I turned to face her. Your mother loved you, Vanessa. She loved you until the very end. But she also knew she had to protect me. And she did. If you want to honor her, honor that. Vanessa covered her mouth with her hand, crying silently. We'll make this right, sir, Lucas said. I promise. I nodded. Good. Now you should go. At the door, Vanessa paused. Thank you, Dad, for listening. I watched them walk to the car, get in, and drive away. I stood on the deck long after they were gone, looking out at the water. I felt exhausted, heavy, but not hopeless. I touched the necklace at my throat. 14-karat white gold. A heart-shaped clasp. The number 291 engraved inside. A gift I'd given Eleanor 22 years ago. A gift that had saved me. Eleanor, I whispered. They came. Like you knew they would. They apologized. I don't know if I can forgive them completely. But I'm trying. The wind picked up, carrying the smell of salt and seaweed. I looked down at Haystack Rock, at the waves crashing against its base, at the gulls wheeling overhead. Life went on. Grief remained. But so did hope. So did the possibility of healing. I closed my eyes and felt the sun warm on my face. I thank you, Eleanor, for everything, for loving me, for protecting me, for this necklace. I opened my eyes and looked out at the endless Pacific. And for the first time in years, I smiled. The ocean rolled on. The wind blew steady. And Eleanor's love, like the necklace around my neck, would carry me forward, always. Standing here on this deck, watching the ocean roll endless and free, I think about everything that happened. This family story taught me something I wish I'd understood earlier. The people closest to you can hurt you the deepest. My dad revenge wasn't about destroying Vanessa. It was about protecting what Eleanor fought so hard to save. But if I could go back, I'd tell myself, don't wait. Don't ignore the signs. Don't let love blind you to betrayal. Eleanor knew. God rest her soul, she knew before I did. She left me the necklace, the number, the vault, a family story of protection wrapped in gold. My dad revenge became her final gift, not rage, but clarity. Not hatred, but survival. Here's what I learned: trust, but verify. Love your children, but don't let them take your dignity. And when someone shows you who they are, believe them. This family story isn't just mine, it's a warning. Dad revenge doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes it's just standing firm and saying no more. If my story moved, you helped you, or made you think twice about the people in your life, please leave a comment below. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to the channel so you won't miss what comes next. Your support means everything. Thank you for staying with me until the end. I pray God watches over you and yours.